Okay, I live here in Texas, and I've just gotten word of this church shooting that happened where 26 people are dead. I don't know if y'all are aware of it. I guess you are because you found this. But it happened in Sutherland Springs, Texas. It's just down south of me here, close to San Antonio. And some kid that was apparently discharged from the Army with a dishonorable discharge took a semi automatic AR 15 and went whole hog in a church that he possibly used to attend, and even did some church work for and everything before. He used to be kind of a Sunday school guy, but he also supposedly read books on atheism. And someone had said, now this may not be true, that he recently converted to Islam. On his Facebook page, I hope maybe I'll be able to pull up a picture of another guy's video I did see. It shows the AR-15, and the only words it says on it on the picture is "It's a bad bitch." And this kid's name is Devin. He's like the devil, and Devin Kelly, and he comes from New Braunfels area, and was dishonorably discharged. Which, by the way, you're not allowed to own a firearm. If you've been dishonorably discharged from the Army, you're not allowed to own a firearm because they've already found out before you can freak out. So it's just one of those things. Like if you're convicted of a violent crime, you don't get to have access to firearms. Whether you think you're hunting or not, it just doesn't come across as good because hunting one thing can turn into hunting another. But I'd like to look at the story here and see what this is. This is one of the more cutting edge ones that's out, so let's see what they have to say about this real quick.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Brett Baer reporting from Tokyo. We're reporting on breaking news out of Sutherland Springs, Texas. We're now getting word about this shooter, who authorities say is dead. Rick Leventhal with a name saying Devin Kelly is the man's name, 26 years old, white male. We're looking for some
Kind of
background
that soulless
on
look in
him
his eyes.
and the motive or what led him to this horrific day.
Helter
Authorities are
skelter
saying
look.
he walked into that church and opened fire, killing at least 25 people and wounding, injuring many more, several dozen more. With the latest, we turn to Brian Yennis, who's watching this. We are also awaiting, we're told just minutes away, a news conference from Stockdale, Texas, that's just east of Sutherland Springs. Brian?
Brett, look, law enforcement officials do tell our Rick Leventhal that the shooter's name is Devin Patrick Kelly. He's 26 years old, a white male from a community or suburb just outside of San Antonio to the northeast of the city. And all of this, as the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton tells us, that at least 25 people are dead, but the number could be as high as 27, between 10 to as many as 30 people reportedly have been wounded. The lone gunman, this Devin Kelly, reportedly fleeing in a vehicle and was killed sometime after that, either by self-inflicted gunshot wound or shot by police. Now, at about 11:30 this morning local time, the shooter walked into the First Baptist Church and started firing. The church, founded in 1926, is in Sutherland Springs, Texas. It is a tiny, tiny community of about 400. Neighbors say typically 50 people attend the church services here. Among the victims, children. A 2-year-old child wounded, reportedly, and the 14-year-old daughter of the church's pastor, Frank Pomeroy, has also reportedly died. Pomeroy was not at church this morning. A congregant, also, we're just continually hearing these stories. A congregant, 34-year-old Nick Ulig, and he says that he had lost his cousin who had 3 children and was pregnant with a 4th. That cousin dead, according to Nick. He says the family had just had a funeral for the cousin's grandfather. I mean, just more and more details coming out, Brett. This is a community, obviously, that is not only small, but we know that a lot of these victims' families and friends were still waiting on word as to what happened, presumably because of the size of this community and how close-knit this church was. Many of these folks, no doubt, know one another. We do know of those that were wounded. Many of them were transported to Connolly Medical Center, which is in Floresville, Texas, just about 15 miles west of this very rural community. The FBI and the ATF
Sutherland's a
are on
small town.
scene. Many of these wounded were transported via ambulance. Some were taken med-evac helicopter to a couple of hospitals in San Antonio, including the Army hospital there, the BRAC Army hospital there. So right now, again, many of these family members, some huddled at the community center just down the block from this church, are awaiting word on their loved ones. No doubt some also at those hospitals, as we are getting word again. Law enforcement officials confirming with our very own Rick Leventhal that the shooter's identity, the name, is Devin Patrick Kelly, a 26-year-old male from a community just outside of San Antonio.
And he's 26 years old and had been dishonorably discharged out of the Army. And they're going to come up and make a statement about him. And I tell you what worries me about this, people, is that this is going to incite people to say things like, we really need more gun control. And I tell you, down here in Texas, where this actually happens at, and one thing that helps save this situation, and they're not saying it right now, is another kid, which, oh man, maybe I can pull up a video of him. This other kid ended up taking his rifle out and shot at him. Where is this? And took a shot at him. Here he is, hero Johnny Langdorf, fires back at Southern Spring shooters.
To help put a stop to it. With me here right now is Johnny Langendorf. He was driving past the church when he saw the shooting. And Johnny, can you tell me what happened next?
No, I pulled up to the intersection where the shooting happened, and I saw two men exchanging gunfire, the other being a citizen of the community, and the shooter of the church had taken off, fled in his vehicle, and the other gentleman came and he said we needed to pursue him, that he just shot up the church, and so that's what I did. I just acted and got him off the road. And
okay. All right, Johnny, it sounds like we may be having a little bit of a technical difficulty. I'm going to try to switch mics here. All right, Johnny, so could you tell me again, you said that you heard you saw the two men exchanging gunfire, and then one of the men, someone you recognized, jumped in the car?
No, I didn't know him at all. I didn't recognize him. He just was a member of the community, and whenever he came to my vehicle in distress and with his weapon, he explained very quickly what happened, and he got in the truck, and I knew that it was just time to.
It was time to go.
Yes, sir.
All right, so tell me about that. Tell me about following this guy. Was it high speed? Was he driving normally all over the place? What was it like?
No, sir. He got a little bit of a jump on us, and so we were doing about 95 down 539, going around traffic and everything. And eventually, he came to kind of a slowdown, and after that, we got within just a few feet of him, and then he got off the road.
How did that happen? Did you guys bump him, or did he lose control by himself?
He just lost control, and then that's whenever I put the vehicle in park, because I was still on the phone with dispatch, and the other gentleman jumped out and had his rifle drawn on him, and he didn't move after that.
Okay, so I understand you guys called police as you were chasing him.
Yes.
Now, did you lead them to that point? Did they meet you there, or?
No, we led them to there. He was headed northbound on 539, and everybody else was headed to the church. Officers were responding to the church.
So how long before police arrived at that scene?
From the time we actually stopped, it was about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes.
And so the neighbor just kept his gun trained on him for that long?
Yes, sir.
All right, was the man moving? Was he injured?
No, I don't know. We didn't get close enough. We asked him to get out.
So what next? What happened once the police arrived?
Just the police arrived, and they pushed us back, and then they took care of the rest. I didn't see anything after that.
All right, Johnny, what was going through your mind during this chase? I mean, you're chasing a shooter. You've heard he's just shot up a church in your hometown. What's going through your mind?
Sorry the video's fuzzy, guys, but it blurted out on me.
To get him apprehended. Or
they're apparently having technical difficulties.
I mean, it was strictly just acting on what the right thing to do was.
Right. Thank you very much, Johnny Langendorf. Again, this is Johnny Langendorf. He pursued after the shooter in his truck. Once he saw the shooter and a neighbor exchanging gunfire, the shooter, as we have heard, has been confirmed dead.
Wow. And the Leak Project one shows up next. There's a lot to this, people, but I'm just in fear that people are going to say more, less guns. And down here in Texas, what I was trying to say a minute ago is we'll probably have a different idea of more guns. If you had somebody in that church with a gun when that guy tried to pull that shit, he wouldn't have killed as many people. If he had known somebody in that church had a gun, he wouldn't have come in there with a gun. You follow the ideas here? People are saying, oh, guns are bad. No, guns aren't bad. People are bad. Guns are what the cops use to keep bad people in line. And also, like you saw right here, good people help keep good people in the world and bad people out of line with guns. So don't let them try to take this and twist this into some kind of gun thing with that they're going with, because I tell you, they're going to have a couple more of these instances here, and they're going to try to pull some gun law on us that goes against the amendments of the Constitution. Our right to bear arms itself is in the Second Amendment of the Constitution, is not to be messed with for our own safety from our own government and anyone who would oppress us. Peace to you all.